schedule of activities. So, and that has been for about a year now, like you rightly mentioned, and that is what the law stipulates. Apart from the Electoral Act 2022 that stipulates that notice of any election, including local government election, has to be at least 360 days. The Osun State Independent Electoral Commission Law 2022 also stipulates 360 days. So, and the notice of election is the foundation of any election. So whatever you want to do regarding an election, once you get it wrong from the point of notice, then all other things definitely would fall and fail. But once the foundation is solid, strong, legally and constitutionally, I think whatever is built on it will stand. And like it's happened in the past, the notice of election was defective, especially in 2022. The notice of election given by OSSIEC was defective, was of no basis at all. And that was why what was purportedly built on it collapsed. But this time around, I think on the side of the notice of election, we got it right, and nobody has been able to fault us on that point. So, and since then, we have been moving, and as contained in the outline of activities. So we are at the stage of recruiting ad hoc staff now, and it is basically online. I think today there should be some names that will be published. Names of some successful applicants. You know, there are levels of applications. We have for returning officers, supervisory presiding officers. We have for presiding officers and poll clerk. I think for that of supervisory presiding officers, the list will be published today.
Okay, so it's a good place to have it. Now, the body constitutionally saddled with responsibility in this state is OSSIEC, in which you are superintending. Now, one will say OSSIEC is not new. That we've had an OSSIEC here that conducted an election that looked more like a referendum, a yes or no. In fact, many persons duly never rated that election because they just feel it's just there. The same OSSIEC you are now in charge of. What has changed? Has anything changed?
So many things have changed.
How?
Thank you very much. In 2007, this same body conducted an election, a local government election, in line with the OSSIEC Law 2002, as at then. But as against the provision of the Electoral Act 2005, and the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Courts, both courts nullified the election on account of the Osun State law being inconsistent with the federal law. That was the basis then. So in 2007, the election conducted by this body was in compliance with the OSSIEC law of then, but inconsistent with the Electoral Act. And by virtue of the of paragraph 11, 10 and 11 of the second schedule to the 1999 Constitution, anything having to do with conduct of local government election, it is the State Assembly that has the power to make law. But that law must not be inconsistent with the law made by the National Assembly. That was the ground on which that election was nullified then. And the elected officials then, purported elected officials then, were sacked from court. But in 2022, this body, this same body that I'm now superintending, conducted an election that was not even in compliance with the OSSIEC law. So it was a brazen violation of one's own. It's like someone using a dagger on its own neck, or using an axe to demolish his own house.
So that election was a sham?
It was a sham, and it was a brazen violation of the Constitution and a brazen violation of the law, because it was not only against the federal law, it was against the state law that established OSSIEC itself. You can imagine that. You can imagine the desperation. You can imagine the level of the violation. I think those who did that should be covering their, be bowing their head in shame now for violating
his own law.
Their own law. Well, today, and apart from that, when we go to that commission in November 2023, there was nothing on ground to say these were the facilities that you could boast of. You could not say that this was a body that started with the responsibility of conducting the government, or you cannot even say that this was the body that conducted the so-called yes or no election.
In terms of what?
In terms of facilities, in terms of infrastructures. The place was like a jungle. In fact, not like a jungle, it was a jungle.
The headquarters?
Yes, it was a jungle. Apart from that, there was no facility on ground that you could point to. No computer, no laptop, no printer. If you look at the hall, you will think that, oh, it's unfortunate that I didn't come along with some of the pictures. We could have shown people here to see OSSIEC that we met and see OSSIEC of today. You can come around and see what we have today. So today, I can boast of an OSSIEC that has high IT facilities. I can boast of OSSIEC whose infrastructures have been improved. I can boast of OSSIEC that has a capacity to deliver on its mandate using IT facilities. We have gone digital. So, like I've rightly mentioned here, our recruitment is basically online. Most of our activities are basically online. We now have a situation room where we can give a real-time report of the situation on ground. I can tell you that today at OSSIEC, even those who were there before we came in, if they come to OSSIEC today, they will themselves acknowledge that they really did bad. But we have moved beyond that. Today at OSSIEC, our mandate is, our focus is on the February 22nd
election,
2025 local government election, which is about 26, 27 days away from today.
Quickly, before my colleague will come, before we get to that, you are confirming that OSSIEC, pre-Ashim Abioye's OSSIEC is now different from the ones we have currently in every ramification.
In all ramifications.
All right. You came in, just like you said, November 2023, and your appointment didn't come without some rubble, some controversies, especially knowing fully well that, okay, Ashim Abioye was a politician, a card-carrying member of a party. You are even appointed as SA legal matters to the current administration, the government of Governor Adeleke at some point. And all of a sudden, from the blues, that same Ashim Abioye is now given the responsibility to superintend a body that's supposed to be independent. And I'm sure there have been many publications against you, verbally, even on social media and all of those petitions here and there. And many persons are still seen, irrespective of your explanation, to say, no, I have a conscience, I have a work to do. Are you concerned that that toga of being a politician at some point might not be able to remove it?
Well, thank you very much. You mentioned publications against me, not only publications, even litigations.
Yeah.
What I want to say is that being appointed as a special advisor or a commissioner does not in any way mean that you must necessarily be a politician.
But you were a politician.
I was.
You were a card-carrying member of the PDP.
Yes, I was.
Okay.
I was. But I effectively resigned my appointment long before my nomination to become the chairman of Osun State.
Because you know you are going to be appointed.
Well, I don't want to dabble so much into that history.
But the thing you know, your credibility is very important on this.
Thank you very much. Honestly speaking, let me say this. My letter of appointment, if you see my letter of appointment, my letter of resignation.
Yeah. My
letter of resignation was far ahead of my nomination, and I had my reason for that.
Which is? My
reason was that I wanted to focus on my legal practice. That was the reason. But along the line, I was appointed special advisor to the governor on legal matters, which is my field as a legal professional. Let me give an example. The Attorney General of the Federation, a legal advisor to the governor is like the governor's counsel. Governor's counsel is a post reserved for a legal professional. Does not necessarily mean that you are a card-carrying member of any political party. Even if you are, that is not the qualification. See the Attorney General of the Federation today. See the Attorney General of Osun State today. You know the position of the Attorney General of a state or of the Federation is the only portfolio reserved for either a minister at the federal level, that is the Attorney General of the Federation, or a commissioner at the state level. Is the only portfolio mentioned in the Constitution. So it is not necessarily that because you are a politician, that is why you have been given that appointment or whatever. So my being appointed as special advisor to the governor on legal matters was not by virtue of being a politician at all. So let us get that right. But be that as it may, people will definitely say it. You were here before. You are no longer there. Some people will still raise concerns. But when we came on board, I took this responsibility. I swore to an oath.
Do you agree that it is fair that people raise that concern?
Yes,
people
yes,
raise it fair.
Yes.
And they don't have to be politicians.
Honestly speaking, they don't have to be politicians. And those who were fair in raising such issues, and when they heard from me, and they saw my own side of the story, and they saw what we have been doing at OSSIEC, how open we have been, how transparent we have been, how sincere we have been. They say, oh, this is a different Hashim Abiyoye. That is why I've always told people that, why are you not focusing on what Hashim Abiyoye has been able to do, what my leadership has been able to change for the positive at the commission, not looking at the Hashim of then. This is a partyless and non-partisan Hashim Abiyoye. This is the apolitical Hashim Abiyoye. So, and I've said it, the way we have been going about our activities, look at it. If there is no allegiance to any political party, when I packed the other time, the Interparty Advisory Council, they were the first to fire a shot against my nomination and against my appointment. In fact, they even protested or so. But along the line, they said, let us give this man a benefit of the doubt. And they saw it.
What changed?
Yes.
You had a meeting with them, or you bought them over?
Honestly speaking, well, let me say this.
Because there was a switch. And to corroborate what you're saying, November 13, from the Daily Post, it was reported that truly IPAC raised eyebrow at your emergence. Well, and now you said they are now supporting. What changed?
Well, let me say this again. If the whole of the Interparty Advisory Council, I'm talking about 18 political parties, could say, oh, we have seen the sincerity of this man, we have seen his transparency, we have seen the way this man, under his leadership, OSSIEC under his leadership, has changed. And unlike what we had in the past, we are now having it as it ought to be. So what again do we need? And they gave their support.
Right.
Let me tell you, there was a time that they issued a statement, a press statement. In fact, it was a press conference that they will be backtracking, because they said our ad hoc staff recruitment that we were to appoint, that OSSIEC under my leadership was planning to appoint PDP members as ad hoc staff. And when I said, look, appointing ad hoc staff, it was not even, in fact, they said I had already gotten the list, I had already drawn the list. And I said, okay, show me the list that I've drawn. Have I announced or whatever? I said, okay. ad hoc staff recruitment would be basically online. And thank God, some of them attested to the fact that when they did the, what was it called? They applied online, particularly with respect to, we have appointed electoral officers, assistant electoral officers. Some of them said that they are, and I never knew, some of them said that they set a trap and that they slotted in some people, and those people got appointed. That was to tell you that it was not on the basis of any partisan interest or whatever. Apart from that, they backtracked after 24 hours when they issued the press conference. I mean, when they organized the press conference, they organized another one and they said, oh, we have seen Hashim Abiyoye's transparency. Later, all of them, all the people, including the major opposition party, came to the premises of OSSIEC, and when they conducted an assessment of our activities and the facilities on ground, they all passed a vote of confidence in Hashim Abiyoye-led OSSIEC, including the APC. All of them were there. Okay. So for all the political parties to have done that, you should know that many things have changed.
Okay. So Barrister, I would ask you a very direct question. Are you still a full member of the PDP?
Uzom, you even use full. He said, I am not.
You are not? Okay.
I am not. I will sign my membership ever before my nomination. Okay,
I would love for you to explain this. It's on the Daily Post. We have the OSSIEC Chairman, Hashim Abiyoye, who made a clarification on Saturday, added that plans by the opposition to frustrate the conduct of the exercise will fail. Who is the opposition?
No, I did not. That was not my statement.
Okay.
You know, in the reports.
Okay.
When you news people, media people, when you frame your reports, you have your styles of writing or whatever.
Yeah, putting this on us.
So what I'm saying is that I never use the word opposition. I know what you are trying to get at. I said efforts by some people to frustrate the conduct of the election will fail.
Who are these people?
Okay.
So thank you very much. Some people have been going to court. It is not only the APC. SDP is also in court. I think one other political party.
What's their grounds against you?
Yes. Well, we have failed to constitute the election tribunal. I've said I'm not the one to constitute the election tribunal. It's my Lord, the Honorable Chief Judge, who will do that. And duty. I have, yes, my duty is to write to the Honorable Chief Judge.
Have you done that?
I have done that.
Okay.
Yes, which I have done. I've done that, and I've done that since December, and I think the election tribunal, I think my Lord, the Honorable Chief Judge, has taken some steps in that regard. So those are the litigations in court.
All right. We're having an exclusive with the OSSIEC Chairman, Barrister Hashim Abiyoye. We still have quite a long way to go, but we'll take this quick break right now. When we return, we will be furthering the conversations. Stay with us.
Our music is gaining popularity across the world, but we are losing our wildlife here at home. Pangolins are threatened by the illegal bushmeat trade. They are sold and consumed in our cities, and their scales are used for traditional medicines. Just as we have preserved our culture, let us protect our pangolins. Let us say no to illegal bushmeat, because protecting nature protects us all.
You're welcome back, and just like I said, it's about the credibility of our body saddled with the responsibility of having credible election. Now, of course, that is when everything is done right, that the people will trust the process and, of course, want to support and be a part of it. And that's formed the basis of our conversation for today. Barrister Hashim Abioye is here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. So, Barrister, I would like to ask, you said the OSSIEC Commission this time around under your leadership is totally different. How can we ascertain credible election in this forthcoming election?
Well, our fathers would say a Friday that will be good. This will be a good Friday. Will definitely be there will have been some prelude at the Thursday preceding that Friday. Okay. So I will have said it in Yoruba because for our audience, I think you are getting my point.
Yeah.
But because the question came from my friend Uzums. Well, what I'm saying is that if you look at the process so far, we gave notice of election, which is 1 year. That is what the law requires. That means that we have established a solid foundation. Apart from that, we have conducted training, seminars, and retreat for the commission members and the management staff of the commission. Aside that, we have appointed electoral officers, assistant electoral officers, electoral officers, special duties, and assistant electoral officers, special duties. It has never happened in the history of the commission. We have issued guidelines. We have issued manual for the election, and we distributed to all the political parties. And not only that, we gave notice of election. In the notice of election, there is timetable and schedule of activities. So from the day of the notice of election, even at the time the notice was amended, all the steps, all the activities to be undertaken by the commission are outlined in the said notice and in the said amended timetable up to the day of the election, even beyond the date of the election. Now we have conducted 2 levels of training for our electoral officers and assistant electoral officers. We have IT experts, we have consultants, we have we have a very formidable legal team, we have a very formidable media team. We have all these things were not there in the past, and we have a very, very active information unit, and we have a monitoring, evaluation, and public enlightenment unit in which people relate with. You can walk to OSSIEC and ask for any information. We have a unit working with political parties, having interactions with them, interfacing with them all of the time. Anytime, any day, if you need anything, if you need any information, within the twinkle of an eye, you will get that information from us at the commission. So apart from that, our ad hoc staff recruitment, it has never been such in the history of any state electoral commission to do online recruitment. And we are doing observer and civil society group accreditation now. You have to apply online, and people have been applying. Some have even been sending in their printout. This has never happened in the history of any state electoral body. So OSSIEC has blazed the trail in that regard. Okay.
Following the litigation and the various suits that have been filed against the commission, do you foresee a peaceful election on February 22nd?
Litigation is part of the election process.
Yeah, like, do you foresee different parties have been coming up? You talked about some parties that actually took you to court and everything. Are you seeing a peaceful election on that day?
The election will be very, very peaceful, because if you are talking about peace during election period, that has to do with security.
Yeah.
And we are in regular touch with the security agents in the country, in the state, to ensure that there are no hitches during the election, because the greatest challenge to any election is violence. In fact, we have a campaign unit. We have a program now, we call it Campaign Against Election 2CD. That is the first in the history of OSSIEC. And I want to say that it will be the first in the history of any state electoral body to have a unit called Campaign Against Election 2CD. The 2CD is Campaign Against Election, Cybercrime, cultism, and drug abuse. These are the catalysts, the incidences of violence during election. I think you are getting my point. So we, at our end, has a campaign for that. We have a program in which we have started launching against cultism, cybercrime, and drug abuse. So for you to know that, not just that we want to conduct election anyhow, anyway, we are very serious about it, and we are mindful of everything during the process. So now, apart from the, you asked about the litigations. What I want to tell you is that the litigations so far, there has not been any order from any of our courts stopping the process of the election.
Okay.
So litigations, like I said, are part of the election process. I think you are getting my point. So, and as they come, we deal with them. And I need to say this again, that some of the litigations in the past, or even as we have it now, there were 2 appeals initially at the Court of Appeal by those who were sacked by the court in 2022. The election known by people as yes or no. I don't like to call it yes or no election because it was conducted by OSSIEC, and I'm now at OSSIEC. But the only way people can understand what we are talking about is by calling it the name by which people know it. That is the yes or no election. So the beneficiaries, the purported beneficiaries of those that election are at the Court of Appeal now, challenging their sack by the Federal High Court. One of the appeals had been dismissed. The other one, I don't know the usefulness of that appeal to those people again, because the 2 appeals bordered on the same issue. That's for the court to upturn, for the Court of Appeal to upturn the judgment of the Federal High Court, so as for them to come back. But one of the appeals has been dismissed now, and there was nothing for them to fall back on. Even if the other appeal goes in their favor, they can still come back. Okay. So that is about that. And I think I have mentioned 3 other litigations at the State High Court and at the Federal High Court. I mentioned it earlier now. So there is no threat to the election in any way.
Okay. Barrister, also I would like to know, these sensitization, these programs you said the OSSIEC Commission has been carrying out, is it also carrying the rural areas, not only the urban areas now? That
is why I've said it. That is why we have electoral officers, assistant electoral officers. If we have electoral officer, assistant electoral officer in each local government, and you know, unless that community or that area is not within Osun State, if the area is within Osun State here, definitely our reach will get to those people in those areas. We have started some programs on radio and TV these days. We have adverts, we have jingles, we have, in fact, we have started some programs. We have Akitiyan OSSIEC, we have OSSIEC Half Hour. We have another one underway at different radio stations. Some will start this week, some started last week, some started about 2 weeks ago, some will start this week, and in a matter of 3-4 days from now, you will hear more of OSSIEC on various platforms, radio, television, newspaper, on the social media and all that. We'll be hearing about OSSIEC a couple of days ago. You will hear more and more. Particularly this time around, it will be about enlightenment, sensitization, orientation, and all that.
Mr. Chairman, but because of time, sorry, like 3-4 questions for me. Number one is this. Many persons have expressed their concern about the credibility of elections done by CX, State Independent Electoral Commissions. In Nigeria, it's more like a convention, more like, you know, when they say just fulfilling all righteousness, like it's a selection actually. Anybody that can have their name finally with SEC in their state, you are sure that you will come back, especially when you're in the party of the ruling party in that state. And we've seen several examples. It has always been like that. And that's the reason why some persons will say, this is not a competition. I'd rather stay out of this. And the credibility has always been in controversy. In fact, it's not more controversy. People feel it's just a selection that is just endorsed by the SEC of those states. And the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, by the way, a few months ago at a public forum in Abuja, suggested that he, in his stature as the AGF, would suggest that INEC takes over the responsibility of these CX so that for the purpose of credibility. Are you concerned that, yes, the view of the NSC and Lateef Fagbemi, it's an embarrassment on the SEC, or it's just the reality?
Well, let me tell you
because
this.
Many Nigerians supported him.
Let me tell you this. Over time, there have been, I said it when the issue was still raging. When the issue was still raging, that not because I have been appointed as the chairman of Osun State Independent Electoral Commission that I'm now the head of a SEC. Not because of that, but we must be truthful to ourselves. You will not manufacture people to be appointed into various positions. It's within ourselves and the people within our community, within our society, within our state, within our country that will man various offices. I think you are getting my point. But the bane of the society regarding the government election is the insincerity of politicians, particularly those people who believe that. Let me cite an example. One person the other time, I think one politician in Rivers State, and he claims to be the chairman, the state chairman of a political party, said that when they were there, when they were in power and they wanted to conduct the government election, he knew what they did, that they rode to resort the government house. And this is somebody who is also looking for a federal appointment. Is saying that maybe to impress some people and all that. This is somebody that people should question and people should say, you should not hold any position of authority in the country again because you betrayed people's trust. So definitely, if he eventually gets the appointment he is targeting for saying that in order to impress his political party, in order to impress whoever or whoever he thinks that will give him appointment or whatever, should know that definitely if he is given another opportunity to hold any post, he will still betray people's trust.
Mr. Chairman, the analogy you gave, yes, he might have written those things for whatever purpose. But
I'm driving at something.
Yeah, I know. He will have done it in cahoot with the electoral body and the personnel in that state.
So that is what I'm now saying.
He can't do that alone.
What I'm now saying is that the major issues for state independent electoral body is that anytime election is coming this way, you see those who feel they can't win the election, maybe because they are not in power, their party is not in power in the state. They will be castigating the electoral body ever before the day of the election, and they will have been talking to people that don't go out to vote. They are dreading the results. And the issue, the end result will be that some people will pull out and they will say we are no longer contesting the election. If they are no longer contesting the election, it won't stop the process. And that is, let me tell you, elections conducted in most of the, by most states, independent electoral commissions across the country have been like that. I've witnessed, I've been able to go to some states to monitor, to observe the state independent electoral, their local government elections. I was in Ondo last week for their local government election. I was in Delta. I was in Akwa Ibom. I was in Kwara. And my commissioners were in some other states too. The report we usually get is that in those states, whether it's cut across all political parties, it's cut across line. Not
this won't be like that.
Never. Because
what will be the
yes, thank you. Because this will be the first election in the history of a state electoral body in which all the political parties, local government election, all the political parties will participate.
Including the APC?
Including the APC, because the matter in court that I mentioned to you was filed by only 19 people.
How many political parties will participate in this election?
18 political parties, they have candidates. But the issue is that not some political party will have just one chairmanship candidate and maybe like 5 councillorship candidates.
They might not have total
across board. But those who have across board majorly are the PDP, the APC, and some other parties have, some other political parties have in 10 local governments, some have in 15 local governments, some have in 8, some have in just one local government.
You are promising all of them fairness and equity and your conscience.
By God's grace. By God's grace.
All right. Now, some will want, let me ask you, Chairman Hashim Abioye, are you under pressure?
I'm not under any pressure at all.
Are you sure?
I am not under any pressure.
Either from the political party or the administration?
I'm not under pressure.
They appointed you or political bigwigs, money bags, all of them?
The only pressure that I would say I experienced was from the populace, from the people of Osun State. And that was when the issue of local government allocation, that when the Supreme Court decision came regarding local government allocation, that any state that does not have a democratically elected local council will not receive allocation. And people started mounting pressure. Even some were even calling my family, Ebomoyin Soro, talk to your son, let him reverse his decision, let him shift the date of the election
speaking, or whatever. That pressure.
But then I insisted, I stood my ground. I said if it was to conduct, unless I got a court order, if there was an order of a court mandating me to go ahead with the election, but if there was none like that, that I will not shift ground. I did not shift ground and nothing happened.
Very quickly, because I have to say that a government of the day led by Governor Ademola Adeleke, whose party is the PDP, appointed you. So you are saying you won't do their bidding?
Well, nobody has submitted any bid before me.
If they submit a bid, will you?
Nobody will ever do that. Let me tell you.
That is feeding you, isn't it?
Well, I don't know what you mean by that. But I know. Let me tell you this: when I was to be appointed,
Mr. Chairman, sir, a government appointed you through the governor. You won't work against them
unless you don't want me to answer that question.
Answer, please.
Thank you very much. When I was to be appointed, and the governor was asked, I personally asked that why me? Why Hashim Abioye? That's I knew the role I played as the secretary to the legal team of the People's Democratic Party. Let me put it that way. Secretary of the legal team. So if you have a legal team, you know we are talking about professional, not necessarily politicians. This time around, we have so many. The role I played. I think you are getting my point now. You now say there had been a waste of Osun people's resources at that commission. The election conducted by the commission was nullified in 2010. Another one was nullified in 2022. Was that not a waste of resources that he would not want that again? That the only thing that will guarantee that is that if we did not falter on the side of the rule of law, and that somebody who would be able to do that, who we trusted that would do that, is Hashim Abioye. It was on account of that, not on account of
Mr.
anybody.
Governor Adeleke trust you to deliver.
Well, to deliver for the people of Osun State.
Fair enough.
To do the bidding of the people of Osun State, not the bidding of any political party.
As we round it off, many persons have been asking, and I'm asking as well on their behalf, as the fourth estate of the realm, what will be the modus operandi? What are the people voting with? Is it with beavers? Is it with their voters card?
Beavers is not part of, because beaver is not within our reach.
For purpose of education?
They should have their PVC. We are using INEC voters register, and we are using voter card issued by INEC. So you should know that we are not manufacturing any material by ourselves.
Is it the same process of national election that you still follow?
It is the same process. The only thing is that it is without beavers, because beavers is not within our reach. We have approached the INEC for beavers, but they say that they have elections to be conducted as well, that they cannot release beavers for us. So if not for that, so aside beavers, all other processes are the same process
For the people that are visually impaired, people with special needs, all of those considerations.
That will be arrangement for that.
You're on top of that matter as well, because nobody should be disenfranchised.
We are on top of that. In fact, we now have Bureau of People with Disability in the state, and the executive secretary of that bureau, I had a meeting with him in the office last week. That is to tell you that we are carrying every stakeholder along, including people with disability.
I want you to look at the people now and assure them that this will not be a waste of public funds.
It won't be a waste of public funds.
And I'll take that as your parting shot.
It won't be a waste of public funds.
Why should they come out to vote?
The people of Osun State should come out to vote. They should be alive to their responsibility. This is local government election, which is the closest to the grassroots. And this time around, it's going to be a different ball game.
Different ball game. You got the assurance from Barrister Hashim Abioye, the chairman of Osun State Independent Electoral Commission. We've been having an exclusive with him, and he has promised, given his word, that this will not be business as usual. He has to deliver, on the mandate as given to him and the commission by the law, and it will be to the approval of the Osun people. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for coming here.
Thank you very much, Femi. Thank you, Uzums.
All right. We still hope to see you before the election will happen. After the election, we hope it will be an endorsement that this is a good job.
We will come here and we will all come to assess, and you will give us kudos.
All right. We hope so. We should go.
Yeah, we should go. So on February 22nd, please go out and cast your votes, because your vote is your right. So I remain Uzom Sekech. We'll see you tomorrow. Stay safe.
I just hope we won't get an invoice from the marketing for what you have just done right now. But it's all right. Femi Ojo is my name. Big shout out to the production team for everything they have done so far. You can have a recap of this program on our YouTube channel at Western Spring TV. It's been a very wonderful conversation, and other programs as well. Share, like, subscribe at Western Spring TV on YouTube. We'll make a return tomorrow, God willing. In everything that you do, make sure that you stay alive. God bless Nigeria. Bye.